Saturday evening, you can forget about college basketball. The world lost a legend. Dean Smith passing away at 83 years of age. Nobody better to shed some light on the man and the coach than Buzz Peterson. Played for him at Carolina, now a member of the Hornets front office. First question I want to ask you, can you give us some perspective on the impact he had on you as a man?
Wow. Every decision I made in my life, as far as a profession, as far as making a move and coaching and everything, that was my first phone call. I'll never forget it. In '89, I was at East Tennessee State with Les Robinson, and he just got the NC State job. And he had his press conference. About an hour and a half later, he calls, and he says, "Look, I want you to come to Raleigh with me." He said, "But you got to make that phone call." And so I said, "Okay, I'll call Coach Smith." And I called Coach Smith. He says, "Hey, you better take that job. You're a young man in the mid-20s, great chance coaching the ACC as assistant coach. Go work hard for Les, make the Wolfpack Nation proud and everything, keep your loyalty to NC State." Not a lot of coaches would do that, but Coach Smith's such a humble man. He was such a humble person.
He always kept in contact with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Really giving credence to that whole idea of family at Carolina.
I'll never forget my meeting with him after I was done playing. His statement to me was, "Hey, look, you worked hard here for 4 years for us. Now it's time for us to go to work for you. What do you want to do?" And I told him I want to coach. He said, no, you don't want to do that. The next 15 minutes tried to talk me out of it. But he couldn't do it. I wanted to coach because I was so intrigued what we did in practice, worked in the game, and just stayed in touch with us. One other situation I had was at Tulsa. And we just lost in WAC finals to Hawaii. Now we're going into the NIT. He calls me on Monday morning and says, "I bet you're down." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Hey, look, we're going to win this NIT." He said, "I'm going to send you 4 pages of notes. I want you to look over these notes, call me tomorrow, let's go over them, it's going to help your offense." I got the notes the next day on a legal sheet of paper, 4 of them. I brought Ed Conroy in and my assistant, he's at head coach Tulane now. We went over those. We had about 5 days at the Cal Irvine game we won on Wednesday night, put them in our team. We go win at Minnesota, Mississippi State, and beat Memphis and Alabama and New York City. And what they were, we were not as big as some of those teams, so we spaced it out some. After the game was over with me in the hotel room, I told my assistant, I said, "Look," I said, "guys, it took somebody halfway across the nation to figure our team out so we can win. You guys couldn't figure this out." And I showed them those 4 pages of notes, and they just laughed.
That's a lesson in coaching. Is there one lesson in life that he gave you that you carry with you on a day-to-day basis?
Discipline. I mean, that was, when I asked him about what's it take to run a successful program, he says, be disciplined on and off the floor. Pay attention to little detailed things. Little things mean so much. Don't let any little thing go by, whether it's off the floor or on the floor. I mean, you make sure you pay attention to those.
During your recruiting process, how were you drawn to him as a man? At one point in time, did you say, "Hey, this is my guy, I'm going to go play for him"?
I grew up in Hickory as a young kid, and the guy lived next door to us, went to pharmacy school at Carolina. So I saw a media guide on his kitchen table. I kind of fell in love. My hero was Steve Previs. I love Steve Previs. And throughout time, we moved to Asheville. I always liked North Carolina. But when I was getting recruited, Joe B. Hall came into my house, Lefty Drizel, Bill Foster, Don DeVoe, Mike Krzyzewski.
You were pretty good, huh?
I wasn't very good. But anyway, all these guys came in, and everybody got hors d'oeuvres. Joe B. Hall and everything got hors d'oeuvres except one person. When Coach Smith came in, my mom fixed a 5 course. She fixed a spread of food for Coach, so I knew where my mom wanted me to go.
What's one thing about Coach Smith that would surprise people to learn about him?
I'll tell you, he always distracted things away from him. Here's a great story. I didn't know this. I was told by John Kilgo. I think it's a great story. When we won the national championship in '82, and we flew back in, and Kenan Stadium, that one side was packed with everybody. Assistant coaches, manager, trainers, players are there. Coach Smith wasn't there. Coach Smith was home with his children and everything, going for a walk in their neighborhood and everything. He didn't want any attention towards him at all. He wanted his players, everybody else to have that. So that says a lot about somebody. And of course, we wanted to win that first one for him.
Was there one point on the way to winning that first one moment you remember specifically?
I remember we almost lost to James Madison here in Charlotte. I remember that. But I remember in a hotel room down in New Orleans, and Jimmy Black everybody talks about Worthy, Perkins, Jordan, great players. They were. But every great team has got to have a leader within. And Jimmy Black was our leader. And I'll never forget Jimmy had us in that room and he said, look, we're here. We were here last year. We lost in the finals. We're going to win it this year. This is our year. I'm sick and tired of hearing everybody knock on Coach Smith. He can't win the big one. We're going to win the big one for him this year. And Jimmy said everybody's going to play their best. I guess he was talking directly to Worthy because Worthy went career high for the championship, and it was a relief to win that championship for him.
During this whole time, this stuff with Coach Smith, what have you learned about the North Carolina basketball family?
It's a close family. It's a close. Guys stay in touch with each other, look after one another and everything, and it's, that all generates back from Coach Smith, keeping everybody in contact with each other, and just making a fraternity, a family, to guys that always care about each other and everything.
Service is Thursday. What are you feeling going into that?
Oh man, I just I've thought about it a little bit. It's going to be. I've shed some tears. I've shed some tears about it because just little things he's told me along the way that I've used with my teams and coach and everything. And it's not a big church, I know that, but it's going to be. I want it to be something I'm going to think rejoice his life, because you know what a remarkable life. Remarkable life he lives. So I want it to be a time that we can all rejoice and think of the good memories of Coach Smith.
Thanks, Buzz. We're all better for having you sit here and share that time with us.
Thank you very much.
For Jace Darling, our producer, for Patrick Ewing, for Aaron Gradwell, for Scott Lauer, for Buzz Peterson, I'm Pete Souza. Thank you so much for watching Live at the Hive.